Hey guys, this is Zara, for Trans Youth, of course. Okay, so I'm covering two topics this week, but I feel like there are two separate topics, but in a way the topics can be combined because they kind of relate to each other. One of them is about bullying for the most part, because I guess a couple of days ago or last week or whenever it was something called National Coming Out Day. I'm not sure if this is just an American thing or what, because I had no idea what this was. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing. And the other thing is actually something that I brought up to the group, because in my stomping grounds of Toronto, there have been discussions, and actually, before I say that, I'll say this. You probably have this in the States by now, I don't know, maybe not, but Toronto already has something called an Afrocentric school, and where I think there are plans to build a second one even. And what that is it's basically a school that is focused on black education. Like, I suppose in your history classes you'd be learning more about black history and about the slave, how you went through slavery and all that kind of stuff, I guess. It's not like we're devolving as civilization and going back to segregated schools, because it's not like that. Any kid can go there. Any parent can send their kid to that school regardless of whether they're white or black or what. It's just that the education is more focused on the black, on black culture, I suppose. So that brings up the topic. There have been discussions of an LGBT-specific school, a queer-centric school. And from what I have read in the local papers and seen on the news, it's really more of a gay-focused school. I've seen it called LGBT school, but it seems to me that the focus is more on gay education. I'm sure they would touch on subjects such as trans and everything else, but from what I've read, they want to focus on the gay part of it. Yeah. And, anyone could send their kid there. Maybe some child who realized at a young age that they are gay, or trans, or whatever. Maybe a kid who has two dads, and the two dads want their kid to know more about it. Maybe just a straight cisgendered couple who don't want their kids to grow up to be another hater of the LGBT community. Anybody, basically. So yeah. I would love that school. All I can say, well, not all I can say, but probably the best thing I can say about this topic is that if this had existed when I was in school, I would have loved to have gone there. And my transition would have started probably, like 3 years earlier than it did. Because while I realized I was trans when I was not realized, but when I admitted it to myself that I was trans at 15 or whatever, I didn't start my transition until after I got out of high school. And I did that because there were some very sketchy characters in my high school, and I know I would have been beaten up, possibly worse, who knows. And I, of course, didn't want that to happen. I feared for my safety. And this is where the topics kind of combine. I was bullied. I wasn't ever really severely bullied, but I was certainly bullied. I was called names, I'm sure as many young trans people who may not have come out yet, I was playing around with makeup and being somebody who would play around with makeup but really had not had any education on makeup at the time. I wasn't really sure of how to get it off, so I would try and wash it off, but I wouldn't be able to get it all off, and then say at school the next day, I'd still have a little bit of eyeliner on or something, and they would say, like, what are you wearing makeup? and they would call me a certain F word that I will never repeat. Well, I don't like to repeat it. And other things such as that. I was never really beaten up or anything, but, you know, had I began my transition at school, I know I probably would have been. But had there been an LGBT-centered school, I for sure would have wanted to transfer there, and had I been able to do so, I would have started my transition earlier, I'm sure. So I don't see how this would be a totally bad thing, but at the same time, there are downsides to it also, because, you do that, then in a way it would be kind of a segregated school, because you'd have all the people from the LGBT community go to this one school, and then this other regular high school wouldn't have any gay kids or whatever. So, like, I don't know, any teenager who is a straight, cisgendered teenager, a lot of them don't know anything about the LGBT community, and it's kind of foreign to them. But a lot of them will, like, a lot of teenage girls will have their gay friend, you know, and he will slowly educate them on the gay community. Many of them will not have a trans friend because, maybe they know someone who is trans, but they haven't come out of the closet yet, like I didn't want to do it in high school, although everyone I knew in high school knows now, and I don't talk to 99% of them anymore. Where was I going with that? So they would have that gay friend, and that gay friend would kind of be able to educate them and be like, we aren't freaks, don't hate on us. Because to be quite honest, anybody who is a straight, cisgendered person has no connection to the LGBT community, they're not going to be educated on it. It's going to be completely foreign to them, and they might get the impression that we're freaks. Because you see it enough in media, maybe so not with maybe not so much with gay people anymore, but certainly still with trans people and with other people in the LGBT community, where we come across as freaks. So they could get that idea. I say a lot, don't I? So that is one situation where it would maybe not be a good idea, but I think it would probably be even better, because then you'd really be able to be around people who are just like you. I mean, I suppose that's what the groups are for. Like what is it called? There's a huge group in my area for LGBT people, but I do not remember the name of it. Well, anyway, there are groups like that. What's that? Ew. Yeah. So in one sense, you'd have a much easier time probably being who you want to be, but on the other hand, society as a whole may not be as accepting of you. So, and also in a sense, it is not a segregated school, but in a sense it is a segregated school, I suppose. And that's why it's 50-50. As I was saying before, it was being discussed to maybe have one of those here in Toronto, but I think when it was voted on, they voted against it. Like, the vote was like, no, we shouldn't have this. So maybe in the future, but it seems like for now, it's just an idea in people's heads. And who knows if it would end up being a good idea or not. Like, we do have the Afrocentric school, And I think, I haven't heard any news about it recently, but I think it's going well. I remember when it was first being built, it was in the news a lot. And I think it has been going well because I haven't heard any news about it. I think if it was probably not doing well, it would probably be in the news. And they do have plans to build a second one. I've heard that. Yeah. So, I guess that's as much as I can say about that topic. But what was I saying about bullying? Okay, so, yes, I was bullied as a kid. And, the person I am now, I'm an educated, mature person now. And I can say that I would never, ever bully anyone for any reason at all. And I've always kind of been like that. I know I was a dumb child once, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example here. If somebody was wearing an ugly jacket, I might have said, what a gross jacket. I don't know, something stupid like that. But I have never, ever been the kind of person to pick on someone who, say, for example, came from a poor household, maybe their parents were getting divorced, I don't know, reasons like that. I would never, ever mock them about something like that. And was there? I don't think there was any in my elementary school. I don't think there were really any major bullies. Actually, there was, because I remember in 7th grade when this new girl came to school, she got mocked to no end, and I didn't take part, but I also didn't stand up for her, which I should have, I know. But were I able to go back to that 7th grade me, I know I would have, because I've been the bully victim also now. And it's not fun. I don't know what goes through bullies' heads, especially with things in the news like this Amanda Todd girl dying. Really, bullying is something that, of course, should be put to an end, but it's something that, can you ever really stop bullying? Like, can you stop children? Like, how could you? You'd have to literally have somebody watching over children 24/7, and obviously you have that, like, on a school playground when they're going out for recess, you have 2 or 3 teachers out there just in case someone gets hurt or something, to stop them from fighting, all that. But to really stop bullying, you'd have to have, like, an adult watching a kid, like one kid every second of the day. I don't know. And that's impossible, because kids think what they think, and it's not even that they think, not even necessarily that that child is, like, homophobic. It's maybe just new to them. Yeah. It's very hard to understand what goes on in their heads. I say too much. Okay, but this video I think is already, like, half an hour long. I don't know. But, yeah. Okay, so, this is R for trans youth. Don't bully, ever. If you do, you will not be my friend. And I'm even like that. Like, I've had friends who I was good friends with, and then I saw them, I would be with them, and they would say something like, look at that fat bitch over there. And I'd be like, are you kidding me? Did you just say that about that poor woman over there? You're not my friend. Like, I'm serious, I've done that. Because that's not the kind of person I want to have in my life. Unless they can fucking grow up and not be a child. And if you're the person doing this, watching my video, I'm here to tell you that that's childish and immature. And you need to grow up, and if you're doing it, it probably means there's something wrong in your own life. So, don't. Okay, I'm gonna end this video now. This is Zara for Trans Youth again. If you have any questions to ask us, transyouthchannel@gmail.com. Yeah. So, comment, subscribe, and send us a question if you have one, because I know you do.